crimes involving the internet, computers, and computer systems are growing. The Cumberland County Sheriff's Office has a cyber crimes investigations unit devoted to dealing with these cases. Detective Jonathan Griner explains how children are particularly at risk and the steps parents can take to protect them.
The Cyber Investigations Unit is currently stationed under the Crime Scene Investigations Unit with the Cumberland County Sheriff's Office. We conduct investigations into the solicitation of children online, specifically solicitation for sexual purposes. We investigate the trading of child pornography, the dissemination of child pornography, receipt. We prosecute all types of individuals, whether they be minors or adults. We conduct many operations that assist other sections within the Sheriff's Office. We also are members of the ICAC Task Force, which is the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force, in which we cooperate with different agencies, whether it be the SBI, different agencies around the country that may need our assistance if some part of their investigation is within Cumberland County. I would say that cyber crimes are very prevalent, especially in a day and age where everyone has access to every type of device, whether it be cell phones, laptops, iPads. Any device that you can use to access the internet is potentially a gateway for someone to become a victim of a cybercrime. I would say that children are most at risk. As children, these days they have a lot of access to the internet. They have cell phones, they have iPods, iPads, they have perpetual access to the internet. If they aren't very well supervised, they may not know the risks involved with going online. Cyber criminals find their victims by going to where children go, whether it be Facebook, gaming sites, game consoles. Any type of site that your child can go to is potentially a haven for child sexual predators. If a child is approached online, the first thing they should do is stop communicating with that individual. They should save whatever information they have. In other words, don't delete texts, don't delete emails, don't delete information that might help us to be able to apprehend criminals. They should immediately tell a person that they trust, whether that be their parent, a teacher, a principal, their school resource officer, or anyone who will be able to notify law enforcement. One of the best steps that parents can take to protect their children would be to heavily monitor their internet usage. Know what apps your children are using. Are they using apps that will allow them to anonymously communicate with other people? Are they downloading apps that will allow them to transmit photographs to each other anonymously? There's one app called Snapchat where people can send photos back and forth, and on the receiving end, those photographs will vanish, potentially destroying evidence. Sites like that, I view those as dangerous to children. They may be perfectly innocuous for an adult to use or someone who's very responsible or careful, but for a child who doesn't understand the risk, that's definitely a concern. I would say that parents need to exert due caution when allowing your child to have unfettered access to the internet. If your child can access the internet, a child predator can find them. It's not that difficult. Anybody with some basic computer knowledge and is highly manipulative can find a child. Definitely take it seriously whenever you allow your child to have, all kinds of access to technology. Think about that. Know what they're downloading. Ask them what they're downloading. Look at their apps. If they're a child and they have a cell phone or a device, that is your device. You need to look at it. You need to see what apps are on there. You need to check it on a regular basis. Just be extremely careful and mindful of the threats to children on the internet. With the Cyber Investigations Unit, we're very proactive in our jobs. We care about the community. If someone has a concern that's cyber related, especially as regards to children, we definitely want to hear about that. There are probably far more predators than we're able to catch as a two-man unit. So we definitely need the public's assistance in notifying us when these things are occurring. A lot of times parents may find out that a child's been communicating with someone that they shouldn't on the internet, and they may just decide, well, I'm just going to take their device and let that be it. We would like to find that person on the other end, because that person is a potential future threat to other children here in Cumberland County and other parts of the country. As far as identity theft, the best thing people can do is don't share your PIN. It's very difficult to protect a lot of digital information in today's world, such as some incidents that occurred recently at a store, I think it's nationally known, where hackers were able to load malicious software onto the card reading devices and allowed people's information to be stolen. That's a very difficult situation. One thing people can do is attempt to use cash if possible. Monitor your bank account. Monitor any transactions. A lot of people don't really check all that information that's available to them, as far as maybe smaller transactions that could lead you to believe someone has access to your information. But if you believe that you've been a victim of some type of cybercrime, especially financial, that can hit people at home. That can really hurt them. So definitely contact law enforcement if that occurs. I would say that people need to understand the risks of going online. They need to understand the risk to themselves. Even adults can be victims of cybercrimes, whether it be cyber, stealing information, stealing bank account information, or actually assaulting or attempting to victimize even an adult. But of course, children are the most vulnerable, so as a society, we focus on them the most. But if someone believes that they're a victim of a cybercrime or cyberbullying, we would definitely like to know. In order to go for more information or to report a crime, I would recommend you contact your local law enforcement agency, whether that's the Cumberland County Sheriff's Office or the Fayetteville Police Department, depending on where you live. For the Sheriff's Office specifically, the number is 910-323-1500.